Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me today with this super fun autumn craft. Oh my gosh, so stinking cute. Cannot wait to get started. So thank you guys for joining me today. We are going to do this at just real time. I'm not going to fast forward through anything. So if you guys get tied up on a little spot here or there, just rewind or fast forward and go at your own pace. So yeah, are you guys ready to get started on this little cutie? Or I should say big cutie? So cute. So super easy. And like I said, if you guys get lost, just stop, rewind, and move forward. So let's get started. So let's quickly go over. So hopefully everybody's here for this craft. It is the porch leaner autumn sign. I'm going to do a little bit different stencil today that says hello pumpkin, so you guys will have a choice between the two. So just let me know in the comments below which one you would like, or when you order your kit, just let me know. So yeah, so stinking cute. It's about 4 foot tall and about 5.5 inches wide. Really fun to decorate and super easy to do, nothing complicated at all. So let's get started. So quickly, let's go over the supplies that you're going to need for the most part. So you're going to need a hammer. That did not come in your kit. So a rubber mallet would work, but a regular hammer will be just fine. So just, yep, or just a regular hammer, some scissors. I gave you guys in the kits raffia and some ribbon, which they're all about 36 inches long. So if you guys choose to not use the ribbon and the raffia that comes in the kit, by all means, make it your own. There is no right, there is no wrong. I love seeing everybody's variations. So you do not have to use the ribbon or the raffia that's in the kit. But I just wanted to let you know that it is about 36 inches long. So keep that in mind if you were to want to duplicate with your own ribbon, that's about how long it is. So you also need some craft paint. In the kit, there is orange and black, and there is also some Mod Podge. So the white is not white paint, it's actually Mod Podge, and we'll use that for the stenciling. And then of course you'll have your stencil and your transfer tape, which will apply your stencil to your board. So super easy. You also will have some sponges to do your painting with, which is a lot of fun. It's a new technique that I'm trying out this time. Instead of doing the foam brushes, we're gonna do these little Dollar Tree foam, I think they're dish sponges, but they work really great because they have a little scratchy side and a foam side. So super fun. And a little bit of sandpaper and a little bit of wire. So about 1 foot long of wire. So also too, if you guys want to use some plastic gloves, by all means, you can pick up some latex gloves at the Dollar Tree. You get a pack of 8, I think, for $1. So yeah. So the paint doesn't stain your hands, but if you let it dry on your hands, it can be kind of tricky to get off. And don't get it on your clothes. If you do get the paint on your clothes, I recommend rinsing it and then making sure that the paint doesn't dry before you throw it in the wash. So you want to make sure that you get the paint out before you put it in the dryer. But other than that, you guys ready to get started? I know I am. I cannot wait. So let's make this cutie. So yay! You'll have to excuse my board. I had recorded this some time ago and the audio wasn't great. So I'm hoping that the audio this time around, I'm wearing a mic this time, so I'm hoping that you can hear me clearer than you could before. So instead of tossing this wood out, I sanded it back down. So you'll notice that my boards have a little bit of paint already on them. You'll have to ignore that. That's not how your kit is going to come. Yours is going to come brand new wood, so don't fret. I'm recycling. Here at Three Barns a Charm, we try to do the right thing and do a little recycling. So this did not become firewood, that this is going to become my craft. So yay. All right, So let's get started there. Also too, on the audio, if you guys, it's a little bit warm in the studio today, so what I wanted to do was leave the windows open. So if you hear some cars driving by, I apologize. So you'll have to ignore that. So, but I'm just going to use one glove for now. We'll see how that goes. But let's get started. So first off, you're going to want to take your little bit of orange paint and pop that open. And you'll want to take one of your sponges. I'm going to take my large sponge because it's a pretty big board. So I'm just going to take my large sponge and dip it down in the orange paint. And I'm going to paint my whole orange, or my whole board orange. I'm going to start on the edges because it makes things a little bit easier to handle. Also too, if you guys want to cover your workstation with a little bit of butcher paper or wax paper, that would be a good idea too. I have a plastic mat down, so I should be good to go. But yeah. So let's get started. So enough jibber jabber. So also too, you guys, you'll notice that your board is going to have like a little bit of a pinhole about 17 inches down from the rounded top. That is the side of the board that should be facing up, but you can use either side, but just note that there is a little pinhole there, so you don't want to fill it with paint. You can paint over it. You just don't want to fill it with paint because that's what your little screw is going to go into later. So, all right. So without further ado, let's get to painting. Yay! Favorite fun time. And this chalk paint is non-toxic, so it doesn't stain your hands, but like I said, it's kind of tough to get off if you let the paint dry on your hands. So you definitely want to wear maybe a glove or something like that. So I'm just gonna do the edges, and you feel free to paint yours on the back side as well. If you wanted to put something on the back side, that's perfectly fine too. So again, no right or wrong, you guys make it your own. So lighter coats are better with chalk paint, so you don't want to really glob it on. I mean, you can be fairly generous, but if it's running down your board, you got a little bit too much paint. So, and you just want to work it into the wood. Just paint, paint, paint all the way around. Just go all the way down your edges. You can go all the way to the end. And then you can work your way back up. Oh, and I already got paint on me. Ha! I should have put 2 gloves on. I just knew it. That's all right. I'm a messy crafter. How about you guys? Are you guys messy crafters, or are you guys super neat? I try to be neat, but at the end of the day, I got paint or something going on. So, but you want to get all the way around the edges. And you can do as many coats as you guys see fit. I probably will only do 1 coat, but you guys are more than welcome to do 1 or 2 or even 3 coats if you wish. So it's really totally up to you guys. So, and if you have little knots or little nooks and crannies, just squish your little sponge brush down. Well, it's not a brush, but your little sponge all the way down in there. Just keep painting until you get your whole board all done up. And you might find it easier to go with the grain instead of against the grain, just because it's wood, and then when wood gets wet, the grain, the surface of the surface gets kind of scratchy a little bit. So you definitely want to kind of go with the grain if you can. I mean, it's not, you guys get the picture. All right, I need just a little bit more paint. Excuse my big head. All right. this down so you guys can see what I'm doing. Super fun. It feels good to be crafting with you guys again. I'm telling you, I missed you guys. I missed this. Things have been really crazy this summer. So it's nice to kind of sit down and relax and get creative. The summer's been super busy. I don't know about you guys, but woo-wee, my summer went quick. Quicker than I'd like. I had a lot of plans for this summer. My plans didn't quite match up with what actually was supposed to happen, but I can't complain. It was a good summer. But I'm ready for the cooler temps, that's for sure. How about you guys? Are you guys warm weather folks or are you cold weather folks? Let me know. And when you guys get your projects done, you need to send me photos. I want to see how you guys do it. And then you can go, as the board dries, you guys are going to see where the paint is a little bit thinner than what you'd maybe want. So you can go back and get the spots that you missed. It's kind of hard to see it when it's actually wet. But I'm going to go back over it with a little bit of black paint and do a little bit of distressing that way. So I'm not super concerned with a super even coat. Now you guys do it however you want. If you guys just want an orange board, by all means just do an orange board, but we'll have a little bit of distressing on this board after it dries. So I'm pretty excited with that. Pretty pleased. Oh, looks like I missed a couple spots here. Go back in and dip my brush in. Get this right here. And again, guys, don't glob on the paint. Thinner coats is best, just because if it dries real thick, it'll take a long time to dry and then it'll dry with like a bubble. So you definitely want it to be just kind of a smooth, thinner coat. But like I said, if you guys want to do extra coats, go for it. But I like a little bit of wood showing through, so that's how I'm going to do it. All right. So now I'm going to let that dry. Ta-da! So cute. Yay. I'm gonna set this aside and let it dry. All right, let's get to the next step. So after you're done with your orange paint, go ahead and after you've gotten all your coats, and if you want to go back and do another coat, by all means go for it. So, but I'm finished with my orange paint, so I'm going to put my lid on top. This, like I said, chalk paint dries pretty fast. So if you want, just go ahead and just put a lid on it. And now we're going to paint our crow. So now you're going to get your little crow piece out. You're going to notice that you also have a small dowel rod. You don't need to paint that. So just kind of set that to the side so you don't see it. But what you do see is your crow. So I'm going to get my black paint out and paint my little buddy here. Oh, he's so cute. So cute. Oh my goodness. I'm in love. Okay. Stop talking to the wooden bird. Okay. All right, so now again, we're just going to take our black paint, and you're going to notice this paint's quite a bit thicker, and that's okay. Just again, make sure that you don't glob it on. You just want to make sure it's just a nice, even, thinner coat. And you're going to go all over the guy, all along the edges. Don't forget the tops. It goes pretty quick. And you're going to notice, again, there is going to be a hole in your bird. That is the side that's going to be facing out. This is the side you're going to see, because that's how it's going to attach to the back of your board. So if you're only going to paint one side of your bird, paint the side with the hole in it, because that's the side you'll see. Hopefully that will make sense, and it will make sense once we attach it. Feel free to paint all sides if that's what you want to do too. So just make sure that you're not globbing on your paint, because the stuff will dry all globby. And then you go along. And again, yours won't come painted. You get to paint yours. I'm just recycling from my last recording. So I'm not trying to get a head start on y'all either. I'm just being honest. So hopefully the audio is okay on this one. So you guys will have to let me know. And now I'm going to take my other glove. I was going to try to get a couple more fall crafts out, but boy, oh boy, this season's going pretty quick. I got one in the works. It's a wall hanging, so we'll see if I can get it put together for you guys. But we'll definitely have Christmas. Woo, I love me some Christmas. So, all right, there he is. He's all painted up. And again, I'll end up distressing mine, so I don't need it to be a super even coat. But you guys do as many coats as you like, for sure. So cute. Such a cute little bird. Boy, oh boy, we got some large crows in our yard too. They're almost as big as my chickens. So, and then we'll let this guy dry. So once you get yours painted up, just set it aside and let it dry. And it should dry pretty quick. So I'm going to set that up there. And we're still going to need our black paint. So now we're going to move to our stencil board. And you're going to notice, again, there's going to be a hole in your board. You guys are getting a lot of holy boards from me. You're welcome. Dad jokes. This is the top. This is how your board is going to hang on your porch leaner. Now you guys, this is another option before we move forward. If you guys want, you can absolutely, if you want to do your own stencil, you do not have to use the stencil that comes in the kit. You guys are more than welcome to go to Hobby Lobby, or if you guys have a Cricut or a Silhouette or a cutting machine of any kind, feel free to do your own stencil. You do not have to use the stencil that comes in the kit. Just note that this is 12 inches wide and 5.5 inches tall. So it's not a very large piece. So if you want to put a bunch of wording on your board, it can get a little tricky. So maybe keep it simple. But you guys do it. If you guys got some steady hands out there and you got some paint pens, then you guys can go to town. And you know, I'm super jealous of a calligraphy person that can make pretty handwriting. Oh my gosh, I watch those videos and I'm just enamored. It's crazy. But what I was getting to is a long-winded roundabout. You guys don't have to make it hang this way. You can hang it this way as well if you wanted to put your screw at the top and then have your stencil go down and maybe say hello this way. Just note that this is the same width. Let me grab the board. This is the same width as the board itself. So instead of going this direction, you can actually hang it going this direction if you wanted to. Just know that it'll block the orange. And that's okay too. Maybe that's the design you were looking for. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So I like giving people options, but you're more than welcome to do it exactly as I'm doing it, and then, you know, put your own twist on it. So, but just note that if you do want to do it the way that it's coming, just know that the hole that goes at the top. So there's that. So then we're going to paint, as you guessed. Oh, nope, we can't do that. We're not going to paint that just yet. I almost got ahead of myself, you guys. Ooh, I was getting excited. We're going to put our stencil on now. So you want to make sure that you don't have any fuzzies. You want to make sure it should come fairly sanded, but you don't want any little fuzzies, or if this has been sitting out for a minute in your house, just want to make sure that it's all dusted off. So You know, it doesn't have to be, it's wood, so it's not gonna be perfect, but you don't wanna have any like dust or kitty fur or anything on there. So now what we wanna do is take our stencil, move that out of the way, and you noticed, and you're gonna look at me kind of wonky, but you guys are going to get a stencil and a transfer tape. Mine's been very well loved, so don't don't judge me, but this is on purpose. So the transfer tape is clear, and then of course you have your stencil. So what you want to do is your stencil should already be weeded, meaning the parts we don't need has already been taken off. It's called weeding. And what you want to do is peel off your, I'm going to take my glove off because this will be a little bit more easier. I speak gooder than most. Mom will be so proud. Oh geez. Yep. Anywho, you want to take your transfer tape off of your backing. So yours is going to be brand new. Yours is going to be completely clean and brand new, but we're going to change that. So what you want to do is remove your clear tape, it's just a clear square off of your backing. And what you want to do, and my pet lovers out there, you guys got a handle on this a little better than everybody else. You're going to take this and stick it to your couch, your chair, your shirt, your pants, and you're going to dirty it up. Dirty, dirty, dirty. The more lint that you can put on this clear tape, the better. Because if you touch it and it wants to hold on to your hand, it's going to want to hold on to your stencil. And we're going to kind of soften that a little bit. So we're going to de-tack or dirty your transfer tape. So the folks that have taken my class before, you totally know what this means. So you want to get it super, you don't want it to be very tacky, just a hair. So go ahead and stick it to your couch, stick it to your shirt, maybe about 15-20 times. And then you don't want it super dirty. You want it to have a little bit of tack to it, but you want it to not be as sticky as it once was. Okay, now what you want to do is take your stencil and lay it flat, and this is the piece with all the wording on it, your design, and you're going to take your transfer tape, sticky side down, and you're going to lay it right on top of your design. So you're just going to push it down, and if you have a credit card or an ID, a plastic spatula, or my crafters out there, if you have a brayer, you're more than welcome to use a brayer, or even my Cricut folks, if you've got a spatula, a scraper tool, you're going to want to push your transfer tape down onto your stencil. So you're going to marry them together basically. Now this is pretty important. You want to start in the center and hold on to it and kind of stroke out. Start in the center, stroke out. Start in the center, stroke out. Try not to go from one side to the other because it'll want to bunch up. So you want to just kind of stroke out. Stroke out. Or my brayer folks, go ahead and just roll it all together. If you've got folks that like to bake out there, if you have a rolling pin, that would work great. Or if you just have anything that's round, I would say a water bottle or a can of Coke. Be careful with that. But if you have something that you could roll on top of it, but basically you're just trying to, or my ladies with the nails, you can use your nails and kind of scratch it down. You're just trying to get your transfer tape to stick to your stencil as best as you can. Now what we're gonna do, let me put my glasses on because you know y'all I can't see. I'm gonna flip this over and you're going to peel back, and you can see on the back side you have a paper backing. You're going to peel the paper backing away from your stencil. So the stencil should stick to your transfer tape. Hopefully that makes sense. So what you want to do is get it started in a corner, and you just kind of wiggle that back and forth, excuse me, until you get it separated. And then you're going to peel your paper backing, just the paper backing. You want everything else to stay together. So the only thing you're pulling away is just that waxy paper backing, okay? And it's really easy to do it if you're laying it down. Excuse me. So it's very important to peel back on itself. Try not to pull up. What you want to do is peel back. So you're basically folding it over and then peeling it back like that. That makes sense. So just get it started. And you want to watch and make sure that none of the stencil goes with the wax paper. You want to make sure that the white stencil is sticking to your clear transfer tape. So you're going to pull it away very, very slowly, not a race. You want to go very, very slow because some of these pieces are kind of little, and you want to make sure, as you can see, some of these pieces are very tiny, so you want to make sure that they are sticking to your transfer tape and not your wax paper. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off my backing very slowly. And as you can tell, I'm basically putting it paper to paper. I'm just kind of scooting it down. I'm not pulling up, I'm pulling back on itself. Very slow, and if it wants to catch, just stop and then go back, scrape it down, and then pull back some more, and it should release. And if you find that it still doesn't, you can do a little wiggle action, and if you go at a different angle, it will also release it too. And just go nice and slow, wiggle it back and forth, and it should release. Just like that, ta-da. The little squares are just for spacers. That's not part of the design. So if this comes up, if this frame, this part isn't part of it. It's just for spacing reference. So it's not important. So we'll just take that away. Let's put that over there and that over there. And this is what you should have. Just like that. Matter of fact, I don't want to confuse anyone. I'll just take that all the way off. So I'm just taking off that square. If you guys can see, I'm just removing this part. I don't want to confuse anyone. That's not part of the design. It was just a frame I used to cut it out on the Cricut. And then here is your design if you're doing Hello Pumpkin. So cute. All right. Now you're more than welcome to measure this and center it with a ruler if you wish. I don't measure things if I don't have to. Me and math, forget about it. So what I want to do is just bring your board up to, this is going to be easier if you guys are standing up or if you can kind of get away from the board a little bit. So that helps to kind of eyeball it. And again, make sure that there's no little dusty boogers or anything. So dusty boogers, what is wrong with you, Leanne? Anywho, but you know what I mean. You don't want any dust particles or any stuff on there. So you make sure you brush that off. And then you're going to take your stencil. And I'm just going to eyeball mine, but you guys do it however you want. If you want to measure it or get your square out or anything like that, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want to put it to the left or to the right, you can even do it on an angle if you wanted to. I'm just going to put mine right in the middle. That's how I'm going to do it. So hopefully my big head won't be in the way for too long, but I'm going to just center it up. So, and try to center it or get it where you want it and then place it down. If you place it down and then peel it up, you'll be in trouble. So you really want to kind of get this in one fell swoop. So you just want to make sure you eyeball it and then lay it down. And I'm gonna put mine pretty much. I'm going to use the 2 peas and the pumpkin to kind of give me an idea if it's level or not to the board, and then go from there. And it also helps to, believe it or not, to squint your eye just a little bit. And I think that is going to do it for me. And I'm going to layer down. I'm a perfectionist in some ways I'm not. So I'm good with that. Now, but you guys, you measure it if you want to. Now what you want to do is take your spatula, your plastic spatula, your ID, your old credit card or something. And again, you want to scrape it down. You want to make sure that that stencil is really stuck to your board. So you want to really burnish it, meaning you want to really, now you're not like, you know, scraping the plastic, but you really, I mean, in the sense of peeling it up, you just really want to work it down. Work it down. I'm giving just a little bit of pressure, and I'm just kind of scratching right over the top of all the words, of every single letter and every little part of the pumpkin, especially like the real tiny little bits. Like these pieces right here, you want to make sure you really work those down. Really, really important. Then you can take your fingers or your thumbs and really push them down. This is an important part. I know it's kind of not the most funnest part. Yeah, there's my English again. Man, what am I? Not good at math, not good at English. All right. But you just really want to burnish down all these little letters. Just so when you peel up your transfer tape, hopefully your stencil then will stick to your board and not the clear plastic. So you just really, really, really want to work it down. And then we're going to peel up our transfer tape, so which is the plastic part. And hopefully you guys dirtied up your transfer tape just the right amount so it doesn't want to hold on to the stencil. So mine's pretty dirty, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we're good to go. And again, you want to make sure you peel back on itself. Do not pull up, because you will pull the stencil off of your board. So once you get your plastic going, your clear plastic, you're basically going to just fold it over on itself and work it down the board. And hopefully then your stencil will stick to the board. And again, if you find that the stencil wants to come up with your transfer tape, just hold on to it with your finger and then work it. Just work it back and forth, nice and slow. Again, it's not a race. If I get ahead of anyone, just stop and catch up and then press play again. That's the beauty of video. So just take your time, just wiggle it back and forth, watch the little small stuff, and watch the little eye, the little dot in the eye that might want to come up also. So you want to make sure you hold on to that and just work it back and forth. Nice and easy. Just keep working it. Nice and slow. And if you guys didn't dirty up your transfer tape enough, it might want to stick. So you want to definitely fold it over and really pinch down your transfer tape. So you're really kind of slowly, you can put your finger and your thumb down and then use your pointer finger and then really kind of fold that over. So you're really folding it flat. Or you can use your hand, sorry I have a little gnat. Use your hand and just really push down and pull away. And again, the little wiggle method, and it should be good. See how my H wants to peel up? I don't know if you guys can see that right there. So what I'm gonna do is lay it down. I'm gonna fold my transfer tape back over. I'm gonna burnish that little spot right there where it wanted where the H wanted to come up, really push down and then try it again. And it should come up. And if it wants to still come up, put your finger, as you're pulling your transfer tape away, put your finger down and your finger will catch it then. And then you just pull. Ta-da! And now you've got an adorable stencil on your board. Oh my goodness. It's coming together, guys. It's coming together. Now you want to take your fingers and really push down on all the letters. Really, really, really push down. Push, push, push. You want to make sure that there's no bubbles on your letters, and you want to make sure everything is pushed down, especially like these little spaces and this little spot right here. You definitely want to make sure. So take a moment, really burnish this stuff down. It's really important so you don't have paint going up underneath your stencil and blurring your image. I got a trick that'll help with that, but it's not always foolproof. So this is a very important step. You definitely want to make sure that you are pushing all your little pieces all the way down. And be careful with those little tiny pieces. Just really push them down. Just really push, push, push. And if you've got like a little area, if you have a little knot or whatnot, just make sure that you really push it down right there. Just push it right in there. Okay, so now we're on to the next step. Ooh, it's coming together, guys. Very excited. I'm gonna clean up my mess here. Now what you want to do is take your Mod Podge, which is the white stuff. It's not white actually. When it dries clear. So what you want to do is just take a little bit of that and take a fresh sponge, and I'm going to do a small one, and now you want to make sure that you're going to cover the entire board. You don't want to do just over the letters, but it's most important to make sure you get the Mod Podge around your design. It's not so important if it's way over here. You want to cover it there, but it's not super important. What's important is making sure you Mod Podge every little bit of the design. That's the most important. So if you're using a different stencil, yeah, you want to make sure that you use the Mod Podge, and really basically what you're doing is filling in the cracks and the crevices of where the paint would actually seep into. You're going to have Mod Podge seep into it first, and it will dry clear, so then when you put the paint down, it won't go into those spots because it's already filled with Mod Podge. So yay, and it's matte finish. So all right, and again, you don't really need to glob it on. You just want to make sure there's a nice even coat, and you can just blob it on, not blob it on, stencil it on, stipple it on, I'll get it right. And just make sure you got a nice even coat, and you don't want it to dry blobby, so you want to make sure that you kind of stroke it down so you don't have a whole bunch of, you don't want a thick coat over here and a thinner coat over here. So I kind of stipple it on and then stroke it into the letters, into the design. Especially around if you have any imperfections in your wood, you definitely want to make sure you get Mod Podge down in there. And you just want to Mod Podge everything. So go ahead and Mod Podge your entire stencil. And I don't have a whole lot on my sponge. If you can see, I'm just working kind of in sections. And if you guys see that a little boogie comes off on, a lint boogie comes off onto your design, you want to make sure you get that, because it will dry to your board and it will create a little lump there, which is not a big deal, but yeah, you might as well get it before it dries. And you just want to make sure you Mod Podge the entire board. You don't have to do the edges, just the surface, just the working surface. And you just make sure that you get all of around the letters and the design, not just the letters. And once I get it on, then I kind of work it down into the letters. And then we're going to let this dry just maybe about a minute or two. You don't want it to go very long, maybe a little bit longer, but once the surface starts to turn a matte finish, the shine starts to go away, then then you can actually paint. So you want the Mod Podge to dry just a little bit so it blocks the paint. It's just a paint blocker. And make sure you don't get anything globby. If you get any globs, you want to make sure that you get those before they dry, because you probably will see them. And just really work it down in those letters. And then you can take your sponge and go across the surface very gently, just to kind of smooth everything out, but real gentle. You don't want to scrape. Just nice and smooth, and it'll help dry everything. And I missed a little bit over here, so I'm going to put a little bit over here. And we're going to let that dry. I had a little boogie there, so get that little boogie. There we go. Easy, easy peasy. Ooh, it's coming together, guys. I'm so excited. All right, now we'll let that dry for just a moment. If you guys end up doing this a little bit later on when it's a little bit cooler out, and if you want to speed up the drying process of this, you can take your hair dryer or a fan, and on cool, you don't want to do it on hot. You want to do it on a cooler setting, but you can fan the Mod Podge a little bit to kind of help speed up the process, or go to the refrigerator and pour yourself a drink, or get a snack, or just don't forget about it, because you don't want it to fully dry. But take a few minutes to go ahead then and let this dry just a hair. And you can kind of pick it up and hold it to the light, and when it starts turning like a matte finish, then then it's time to actually paint. So right now it's kind of shiny. The vinyl, the actual stencil, will probably always be kind of on the shiny side, but the wood is what you're looking for. So when the wood starts really mattifying, you're in a good place. So, all right. So we'll let that dry. And in the meantime, we'll put the dowel rod in our little bird. So I'm going to move this to the side for just a second. Don't go far with this. We don't want to forget about this, but we do want this to dry for just a second. So I'm going to move this to the side. This is where we get to take our aggressions out. Oh, and I am going to cover up my Mod Podge. We don't need the Mod Podge anymore. So, and this stuff dries pretty quick too, so you want to make sure you put a lid on it. So now what you want to do is take your small dowel rod, and you notice that there is a line right down the middle of the dowel rod. That is your center point for the most part. So this part you want in your board, and this part, half of it, you want in your bird. There's no right or wrong, but when you put this in your bird, you don't want to put it all the way in. You just want to tap it to about the halfway point, which is a guide. It's not, it's not super specific, but you just want to make sure you have half and half. Does that make sense? Okay, it will. So what you want to do is take your dowel rod and if it doesn't want to go down in the hole super easily, you can take a little bit of your sandpaper and just round over the edge just a little bit to kind of help get it started. But you need just a little bit. And for folks that don't have great aim, you're more than welcome to use some needle nose pliers to hold it while you hammer. You don't have to, but it could help you if you don't have super great aim. Some days I have great aim. Some days, ask my thumb, I don't have great aim. Also too, if you are working on your kitchen table or something that has a little bit of a give to it, you'll want to hammer this either on the floor or move your little bird over to, how do I explain this? You want to move to where the leg is on the corner of the table. You're not on the leg, but you're over the leg, if that makes sense. So you're not in the center of the table. You're basically hammering directly over where the leg is extending down to the floor, because basically you want a very firm surface to hammer your dowel rod into. If you're in the middle of a table with no leg underneath, it'll have a tendency to want to give, and this will be a little more tricky. So basically just move on top of a table leg or move it to the floor or something super sturdy, or your front stoop steps or something like that. You can't hurt it, but it'll give you a little bit extra. So, and then what you want to do is just kind of, you're going to put your little dowel rod right up over the hole, and you're going to take your hammer. Yep, it's a pink hammer. And just tap it. See? Right into the hole. And you want to be careful that you don't want to go farther than your halfway mark. So just little baby taps. You don't have to manhandle it. You just take it easy. But just tap, tap, tap until you're in. Ta-da! Can you guys see that? All right. And just make sure a couple extra taps. And that's pretty much ready to go. Now we'll go back to, and you're done with this for a minute. Now we'll go back to our stencil, and you should be pretty much ready to go. So now what we want to do is, you can put your glove back on if you want to. You're going to take your black paint or whatever paint you want to use. You guys don't have to use black if you don't want to. If you want to do a dark brown stain or a different orange or a white, it's totally up to you, whatever color you want to use. But I'm going to go ahead and use my black. And now when we go to stencil this, you want to be a little bit easier on the paint. You want to be gentle around your design. So you don't want to glob onto the paint. You just want it to be very gentle. The Mod Podge should have filled in a lot of the holes, but you want to make sure you're just going up and down with soft tapping motions. So you're just stippling the paint on. And if you want to, you can get a piece of paper, excuse me. You can get a piece of paper, and if you get too much onto your sponge, just take a piece of paper and offload it a little bit and then put it onto your board. So if you find that you got too much onto your little sponge, just dab it off onto your surface or whatnot. And then you're just going to dab it on. Up and down, up and down. It's really important. Try not to go side to side because you're going to push that paint underneath your stencils. You just want to go up and down, up and down. Nice and easy. And don't forget your sides if you want to do your sides, and you're more than welcome to paint your back as well. So, and you can do as many coats as you guys would like. I'm probably just going to do just one coat because I'm going to distress mine a little bit, but you guys do it however you want. And just remember, up, down, up, down. And you want to make sure you get into the little crevices. Once this paint dries, it's easier to see where you have missed. So go ahead and get a coat on and wait just a few minutes, and you'll be able to see where you missed on the paint. So the black is a little bit difficult to see because it has kind of a shiny, when you first lay it down, it's kind of shiny, so it blocks any spots that you have missed. So I just up, down, up, down, up, down. And a little bit more paint. And it's probably easier if you guys do your edges first before you do your surface, just for handling purposes, but you guys can do it however you want. I got a lot of paint there, so I'm just going to dab it off and then come back in and work it around. So I'll dab a little bit and then move over here and dab a little bit more and then move it over here. So I work that heavier paint, I'll move that around a little bit. And just paint away. I find painting to be really meditative. You can just really kind of zone out and forget about everything for a minute, and you can just really just concentrate on the process, and it's very relaxing. I enjoy it. I wish I could do watercolors. I might take some classes, see what I come up with, but I'd love to do watercolors. I got any painters out there? Any folks that that are actual true painters? I'm very envious of your skill. Watercolor is something where you kind of have to just kind of let it go, do its thing, and once you place it down, you kind of just leave it, and you can't, I mean, I guess you could go back but I guess you have to be careful with paint getting muddy. And that's where I want to work it and then rework it and then rework it, and then I have a big puddly mess. All right, and that's pretty good there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do my edges real quick. I put my other glove on because this is getting messy, I see. Or at least put it on just a little bit. Easy peasy, guys. I told you, super easy. Told you could do it. So simple. Don't forget to do your short sides. Then you're going to notice that you'll have a little bit of wood grain on the short sides. It'll be easier to dab it up and down with that as well. Instead of trying to brush it in, just dab it into those crevices. Because if you try to stroke the paint in on the wood grain, it might grab your sponge, which is okay too, not a big deal. But just dab it, dab it, dab it. And go across the top. Get my other side. Get this side. Get all my little spots. And I am, like I said, I'm gonna do a little bit of distressing on this. So I don't need mine to be super even. But you do want the paint to be covering all over where the letters and the design are. So you want to make sure that you get all the parts of your, it's going to be tough to see, but you want to make sure that wherever there's a design, you want to make sure that the paint is there. So just keep dabbing and keep working the paint across your board. And if you see any thicker spots, you want to make sure you work those out, because they will dry thick and you don't want that. It'll dry kind of blobby. So, and we'll let that dry. Just like that. And again, you guys do as many coats as you want. You don't have to do just the one coat, but I am going to distress mine a little bit. So, that should be good, and we'll let that dry a little bit. So I'm going to move this out of my way for just, now we don't want to let this to go for too long, but we do want it to somewhat dry down. We're going to pull up the stencil with the paint still somewhat wet, but not fully wet, that if you were to drop the stencil, it would create a problem. So we're going to pull the stencil, but we want to make sure that the paint is somewhat dry. So I'm going to move this out of the way for just a moment. And it looks like I missed a couple of spots down here, so I'll go back. And it looks like it's drying pretty quick. So I might just go ahead and pull it up. Now, if you guys notice that your paint is still kind of shiny, like in some areas you can kind of see, you maybe want to wait, but mine is drying pretty quick. So it's kind of tough to see. You can see where it's kind of shiny and kind of not shiny. So, and again, if you guys want to speed up the drying process, go ahead and get your hair dryer on a cool setting and just kind of blow air across your board and it'll dry it pretty quick. Try not to use a hot setting or any, try not to use a heat tool, because you can burn the paint, it'll bubble. So you don't want that. Well, maybe you do, I don't know, but then that's a fire hazard. And then I don't know, that sounds like an exciting evening if you ask me, but all right. So now what you want to do is take, one thing you will need, guys, I guess I didn't tell you, is you will need like a sewing needle or a safety pin. No, we're not sewing. This will be a picker tool to help weed the stencil off of your board. Or my crafter folks, if you've got your weeding tools handy, you'll need those. So basically what it looks like is they look like dental tools. So if you guys have some dental tools, you can use those as well. A toothpick would work, but a sewing needle or like a stick pin would work really well, or a safety pin, anything that's got a fairly sharp point on it. But these work really well too. So, but what you want to do then is take your weeding tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to very gently catch your stencil. So you're basically just going to kind of stick your weeding tool down into where the letter is, and you're going to just barely catch the vinyl part, and then you're going to lift up. Try not to go really, really deep, because you can gouge your wood and you'll be able to see that. Now, it won't be super obvious, but you will notice that there's a little point where you've stuck into the wood. So basically, you're just going just deep enough just to pull that vinyl up. You're just trying to catch just the vinyl. So, see if I can show you. And you're just going to just kind of skim across it and pull it up. And if you can't get it in one spot, try another spot and it'll pull up. You just kind of wiggle it and pull it up. And it looks like my podge is gonna, you just want to make sure you get all the pieces. And it helps to pull with the design. So as the shape of the H goes around, you're going to want to pull with the shape. And it'll pull right up. And just grab just enough, just poke into the vinyl. And if you catch your black paint, that's okay too. You can go back in and touch it up. But you want to go just deep enough just to catch the vinyl. And go real slow and try to pull in the direction of the design. So with this L, I'm going to pull this way or this way. I'm trying not to pull this way. So I'm going to pull with the design. And just catch the little ends and pull. See how I'm pulling with the design? Just go deep enough just to catch the vinyl and pull with the design. But if you find that, you know, it catches or it pulls up a little bit of the wood, that's okay. Just go back in and take your pin and dip it in your black paint, or get a just a really narrow paintbrush and just dip it in and go to town. It's easy peasy. I guess I should finish this letter. Just deep enough to catch the vinyl. I'm going to rock it back and forth and pull with the design, just like that. I think I'm going to take my glove off because it's sticking to my vinyl. I'm going to come back to my P. Hopefully you guys can see I've got my big head in the way. Just deep enough just to catch that vinyl. Take a second to catch it. And if it, like I said, if it doesn't pull up in one spot, try it in another and it'll come up. Just be patient. And pull with the design. And when the design has those really delicate areas, just be real slow and be real gentle and it'll pull up. And if it breaks, that's okay. Just take your time and go back and grab it. This isn't a race, just enjoy. And that's what your little weeding tool is for, to help you get that vinyl up. Just wiggle it back and forth. It will come off, I promise. Nice and easy. Try not to go too deep, just enough to catch that vinyl. And pull in the direction of the design. Super simple. These little narrow words, and that's why I was saying if you guys wanted to change your design, just make sure that you don't make little tiny cuts, because those don't want to come up very easily. The more delicate they are, the tougher it is to have them pull up. So you want to definitely make sure that you have enough beef there to grab onto. And if you lose sight of your design because it's a matte finish, just kind of lift it up and do like this, and you'll be able to see, because the vinyl will reflect a little better than the wood will, and then you can see where your design is. So if you've gotten it all completely weeded and it doesn't look quite right, lift it up to the light and you'll see if you've left any little pieces behind, like the dot in the eye. So, and just take your time, pull it up. Super, super easy. And the bigger pieces are a lot easier to weed. And you can use your little weeding tool to kind of assist, help pulling it up. Just take your time. Just want to make sure you pull in the direction of the design. It'll help you. Do you guys listen to music when you craft? Or do you like having a podcast on? I don't know how many crime junkie fans are out there, but I've been really into that lately. It's kind of funny. I always thought I'd be a good lawyer. I don't know if it's because I like to argue. I guess I like everything to be fair. All right, almost there, guys. We're getting there. What? Very exciting. Very, very slow, big reveal. So fun. Coming along, guys. Almost there. Just take your time. Just make sure you just go just deep enough just to catch that vinyl. And then peel in the direction of your design. And it will help you. I gotta pick this up to see what's missing here. I know there's a dot right there. There he is. Ta-da! Get my little pumpkin piece. Get my head in the way. And like I said, if it doesn't come up in one spot, try another little spot and it'll come up. Just take it easy, nice and slow, and peel in the direction of your design. These bigger pieces are pretty satisfying to pull up. If you have a pair of tweezers too, that might help. And be careful when you pull. If you guys are doing this particular design, just make sure that you're pulling away from these little narrow spots. So for this side, I'm going to pull this way. Oh, you can't see me. This way. And for these lines, I'm going to pull that way. So I'm pulling away from, so I'm going to pull up. And then when I come around to do this side, I'm going to pull this direction. So I'm going to pull this way. See how I'm pulling? I'm pulling this way. Just like that. And I'll do that again. So catch this, catch the vinyl. It's hard to do it with up in the air. Get a piece of my vinyl here. I'll turn it around. We'll catch it and we'll go this way. All right. So with this, I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling in the direction of my design. I'm trying not to pull across those lines, so I'm going to keep pulling down instead of across because I don't want to lose this little fine line on the edge. So I'm just going to pull down, just like that. Just take your time, get all the little pieces. It'll all come together. Use your weeding tool. Your weeding tool is your friend. If you got a little, use the end in your fingertip and just pull up the end. If you lost a little piece, just kind of poke it, move it forward. It is coming together, guys. It is coming together. Almost there. This has been fun. I'm enjoying this very much. Just see how I'm poking it and then using my finger to pull it up. Hopefully my head wasn't in the way. But I basically got underneath and just held on to it and then picked it up. So I just kind of put my thumb over the top and then pinched on it and pulled it up. But really, you guys get whatever works best for you guys. Just make sure you peel in the direction of your design. And nice and slow. And last but not least, this little guy, this little curly Q. I might try to start with the bigger piece. This piece might be a little bit on the tricky side, but that's okay. Just take your time. Try to peel in the direction of the design. Get your little weeding tool underneath there and pinch it with your hand or your finger or your thumb. And just wiggle it back and forth. And you guys, you got yourself a painted board. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Oop, I missed a piece. I could see it. I can see it in the light. I missed one piece. So it's really helpful to go back and check your work to make sure you got all the little guys peeled off. And then I'm going to peel up. Peel right in the direction, just like that. Oh my gosh, you guys. How stinking cute is that? Very, very cute. So cute. All right. So now we're done with that. Move my paint out of the way. Oh, and like I said, you guys might want to go ahead and put a lid on it because they'll dry out pretty quick. Now, what you want to do is let that maybe dry for a little bit, although it's getting pretty dry. But I'll set that aside. Oh, I was a little bit premature. If you guys wanted to do a little bit of your distressing, get your glove on and get your tall board. Toss that. Go ahead and get your pumpkin board back out. And this is completely optional. You guys do not have to do this step if you do not want to. You can have it just orange if you want to, or you can take sandpaper and just do the edges and distress it down to the board if you want to. But I wanted to give you one more option. So I was a little bit quick on the black paint or whatever paint you're using that matches your board if it's a dark. So what you want to do is take your black sponge, and you can see on the other side you have a scratchy surface, and it's a lot scratchier than the spongy side. So what you want to do is if you want to do this, what it does is basically does like a faux distressing. So you're going to dip just barely. You want just a little bit of paint. Trust me, a little bit goes a long way. You don't need a lot. You're just going to dip it down in your black paint. Just touch the black paint. You don't need a whole bunch. You don't have a whole lot on there, if you guys can see that. And what you want to do is dab it off. I don't have I'm missing a piece of paper. I'll just use this. So you just dab it off, and then right on the edges of your board, you can take your scratchy and very softly go down the edges of your board. So it adds a little bit of dimension. Can you guys see? Adds just a little bit of, you guys see that? Basically just going right down again, completely optional. You don't have to do this, but you're going to take your little scrubby side and just go right down the edges. And it just kind of adds a little bit of interest right on the edges. And again, just a little bit goes a long way. You don't have to go crazy or go crazy. You make it yours. If you want a lot of distressing, go for it. But I'm just going to do just a little bit. Just offload it and go all the way down to the bottom. And I'm going to go just stroke down across and then back up the other side. Really, really cute. So again, you guys don't have to do this part, You know me, I just like a little more paint, better paint. So just go all the way down. Whoop, that one's a little dark, so just go dab it back off. And just go right down the sides. Easy peasy. And then when you get to the top, you'll notice that it's kind of in a pumpkin shape. And if you want, here's a little extra something you can do. If you wanted to just do just the edging, you can just come right around and I'm just barely touching the board, very, very gently. I'm not going real hard, just right at the top. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this shape. I'm gonna kind of make it look a little on the 3D side. See that, where I did a little bit of the black? So if you want, it kind of makes it look like it's got a little bit of a 3D effect. So I'm gonna put a little bit of a U shape or a C shape right in here with just the edges of my sponge. You want to make sure you don't have a whole, you just go light at first. If you want to try this, just go real light. And you're just going to put a C shape right in here. So you're just going to follow this shape on around. And just go real light at first. Just like that. And if you want to go a little darker, just go back in, get a little bit more paint. I will say this, when you put the bow on top and the raffia, you don't see this very well. So if you choose to do it and then you go, oh, I'm not really digging it, that's okay too. Your ribbon will cover it, and or just get your orange paint out and you can easily cover it up. So there is no right or wrong to this. So feel free to try this, and if you don't like it, you can cover it up. But I bet you like it. So cute. And then I'm just going in, just making it a little bit darker. And then it gets lighter as it goes down the board, so it's darker at the top. Just like that. So cute. At the top. Just like that, guys. And if you want, you can get your stem there at the very top. But again, you really won't see much of this portion because of the raffia and the ribbon, but maybe you don't want to do the raffia or the ribbon. You don't have to do that either. Maybe this is the look you're looking for. So you guys do it however you want. All right, now we let that dry. Now we're for reals done with the paint. All right, so now I'm going to cover this up so I don't spill it. We'll let our board dry a little bit longer. So we'll set that aside, let that dry. All right, now we'll take our little bird, and if, again, completely optional, you do not have to do this part. We're almost done, guys. But if you wanted to, you can take your little bit of sandpaper and go along the edges and sand down your bird. So I'm just going to rough up the edges so you can see the board coming through. And if you find that your sandpaper, either you can fold it over on itself, or you can wrap it around a stick or something so you have a little bit more firmer grip and you can really get down in there. And that's basically what you're looking for. You want the wood tone to come through just along the edges. But you guys do it however you want. So cute. Just adds a little something extra. But you guys do not have to do this. This is just a little extra. Along the beak, just be careful, kind of sharp, so just be careful. And just go all along the edges. And feel free to move your sandpaper around just a little bit. And just know that right in the belly area of your bird, no one sees that because that's butting up against the back of your porch leaner part. So you really don't have to sand that part if you don't want to. And that's it, guys. And if you wanted to do a little on, so cute. And you guys go to town. If you got a circular sander, orbital sander, go for it. That makes things a lot easier. Or a little mouse sander, you can really get in there and really make some fun marks. So if you didn't want to do hand sanding, which I don't mind. And then if you wanted to, you can do that also on the edge of your sign. Just like that. I like the corners. I like to really get the corners. Move my sandpaper around. Really sand those corners off. Go down the other side. Again, you guys do not have to do this. Completely optional. But it kind of gives it that more rustic, worn, like it's maybe been on a farm or sitting outside in the weather. So cute. Ta-da. How cute is that, guys? So cute. Might do a little bit more. Oh, my sandpaper is coming apart. And there you have it. Super cute. And you guys can do more or less as much as you want. Now, you're going to take your eye screw and put it in your hole. Just like that. And you're going to want to screw it down. Just screw it right down in your hole. And if you find that it's folks with a little bit of dexterity issues, you can stick something long down in there and just twist that, or you can twist the board if you find that this hurts your hands. And you just like that. We're getting there, guys. All right, now our board should be about dry. Now, I will caution you, if you are a little bit messy painter like myself, you want to make sure that you have a fresh, clean surface to do the next step. So if you need to, go ahead and clean your surface and or put a fresh piece of paper down, because you don't want black paint, wet, or any kind of sanding remnants, because the next step it could get a little messy. So you want to make sure that you clean that up. So make sure there's no wet paint. All right. Should be good to go. Now what you're going to want to do is flip your board over so the wrong side is facing you. And you guys are more than welcome, like I said, to paint this side if you want to. I chose not to just for time wise, but you guys are more than welcome to do that. And you're going to take your bird with the little dowel rod, and you're going to match this dowel rod up with this hole. And you're going to then hammer your bird down against your board. And just take it easy. You don't have to, just lighter taps is better than hard taps. So don't, you know, just take it easy. And you want to keep in mind how you want it angle wise. You can change it later if you want to, but it's best to just kind of get an idea of how you want yours sitting. So if you want him way over or sitting super tall, I'm kind of in the middle. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go just about like that. And then you take your hammer and just tap him right down. And again, it's best if you are hammering over the top of a table leg or on the floor. If you are doing this on concrete, say a stoop or a sidewalk, make sure you put paper or a little thin blanket or a towel down first, because if you hammer this wood on top of a surface such as concrete, that will mar your front of your board. So just make sure that you protect your surface. So, and this gets a little loud, I apologize, but a couple of whacks and we're in. And flip him over. Oh my gosh, you guys, how cute. Oh my gosh, so cute. Oh, just want to pinch his little cheeks. So cute. All right, we're almost there, guys, almost there. All right, next step. Now you want to take your raffia, move all my paint stuff out of the way. I made a mess. So what you want to do is take your raffia and kind of find your halfway point. That doesn't have to be perfect. Do not make it perfect. It won't be perfect, but just kind of get an idea on where the halfway point is. So if you got some extra long, you just kind of want to make them as even as you can, and then loop it around so you have the halfway point, just like that. What you're going to do is you're going to take your raffia and you're going to wrap it. I think what I'm going to do is also add our string. We got a little bit of orange twine. I'm going to put that in as well. And again, make that even as possible. And you're going to wrap that. You're going to go around your little bird. And then you're going to come up and then bring those two ends together. So I got half on this side and half on this side, and we're going to pinch them together and bring them together as one ponytail. We're basically making a ponytail. Then you're going to take your little bit of wire and you're going to just wrap around as you're pinching it. So you're just making a raffia ponytail. Doesn't have to be super tight, but you just want to make sure that you get it all snug. And then twist. I'll get my head out of the way. So I'm just basically pulling it and then twist. Again, doesn't have to be super tight. You're just holding it, but you're making a raffia ponytail. Okay. Now you take yours two ends and pull them back apart. Doesn't have to be the same, just split. Just going to split it into halves and then just kind of push down. So part of it goes this way and part of it goes this way. And you got your wire ends, one going down and one going up. And now we're going to make a bow. Almost done, guys. Super, super easy. So what you want to do is match the ends up so they match, and then find the center. And they don't have to be perfect. Close enough is good enough, and then you find your center point, and then you put your center down. Make sure everything is good to go, and you'll twist. So bring these together. So one was up, one was down. You're going to now switch and twist. So you're just holding everything together. Now you can move those out of the way. Now we're going to be making a bow, and this is the trickiest part. So you take both of your pieces, you take your big ribbon and your little ribbon if you're using the kit ribbon, and you're just going to be making a bow with both of them, and you're going to pinch. See how I have a bow? And I'm just pinching it. Then you're going to take your other piece with the thinner ribbon on top. It's kind of tricky to hold it together, but you want the thin ribbon on top. You're going to loop around. You're going to loop around this loop. So you're going to go under, over, and see how the pretty ribbon is on top of the big ribbon. You're going to flip it. So you're going to flip this. Let's try this again. It's kind of tricky. So you're going to go around, over. Oh, come on. Flip, and then up through. So you always want that thinner, prettier ribbon to be on top. And then you'd pull tight and adjust. So I'll show you again. Let me lower down the camera. This is kind of tricky. Hopefully you guys can see that a little better. So you have a fancy ribbon, and then you have the burlap ribbon. So you want them together, and you're going to make a loop and pinch. You also want this side together, just like this. You're going to go around, you're going to go underneath your loop, over the top of the loop. You're going to flip this side so it's going through the hole, and you're going to push it up through with your thumb and pull tight, just like that. And now you can then, before pulling the ribbon all the way tight, then you can adjust and make sure that the pretty stuff is on the top. But again, it does not have to be perfect, guys. It really doesn't. It's cute no matter what. And then you pull tight. Just like that. And then you can pull them apart if you want to, or leave them together. Completely up to you. And then you can trim off the excess with a pair of scissors, your wire, super thin. I just cut off the wire bits. We don't need those anymore. And just fold those tails back, the wire tails back, and scrunch however you see fit. Then, you guys, almost done, almost done. You're gonna take your hook in that little pinhole that's about 17 inches down from the top. You're gonna stick it right in that hole and push down and twist. And you're just gonna screw it down in. Super easy. And you want the hook up. So you want the hook facing up. And you take your cute little sign, put it on, just hook it down, and you guys are done. Oh my gosh, you guys. You guys did it! How cute! How stinking cute is this? I told you you guys could do it. So cute, so cute. What do you guys think? You like it? If you find that your little raffia strings are a little bit too long, just cut those off. It's completely up to you, but I kind of like them a little long. So cute, you guys. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll move my camera out of the way. I really enjoyed this craft time. Thank you guys, truly, from the bottom of my heart. I wouldn't be doing this without you Or maybe I would be doing it without you, but I'd be talking to myself and no one wants that. So seriously guys, I appreciate you guys going on this journey with me and doing this craft with me. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you will join me on the next adventure, the next class. I got some stuff in the works. It's gonna be super fun, super easy peasy. Let me see what you guys have done. I want to see your work. I want to see. So send me photos and message me. I want to see. I want to see. So you guys do great, and I just love seeing everybody's creativity. So you guys, seriously, thank you. I love you all. I miss you terribly, and I hope to see you in the next video. Keep your eyes at 3 Barns of Charm, because that's where you're going to find cute stuff like this. You guys did it. You guys did it. So cute. I'm very excited. Whoop, whoop. Bye guys. Thank you. Good night.